Here we go. Good morning. Right now it is 9:01 on a Friday, and we have a special treat as we have Hippie Fertilizer in studio, and we're going to be learning about everything that it takes to have an organic lawn. What does that mean to have an organic lawn that is free from chemicals and pesticides? What does that do to the earth? What does that do to our bodies and our kids and our families' lives? What's up, AJ? How's it going?
What's going on, Gardy? It's freaking going great.
Yeah, you've had an interesting start to the morning so far, but I feel like it worked out.
It did.
What happened?
It did. Okay. I was driving down 45. Oh, I'm embarrassed to say. But,
It happens.
Construction's going on. The speed zones are changing. Feels like every 5 seconds.
Yes.
I got pulled over. It's going 70 and what usually is a 65.
Yes.
Right when I noticed the officer, I also noticed the sign
Yeah.
that says 55. Fortunately, he was like, "Hey, dude, I get it. The speed just changed here, so pay attention and have a good day."
So it was a warning.
Yes, sir.
On a Friday, I feel like they were like, I'm not about to ruin this dude's Friday, the work day, then the weekend, and they can tell, obviously, you got your Hippie Fertilizer truck.
Yeah.
That you're just, hey, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to do some work and make the world a better place.
Right.
They probably realize that. Hopefully they look you up.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I even told him I was going to be on here. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah?
hey, yeah. I was like, check it out. He said he's like, yeah, I think my wife listens to that.
Of course she does. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And thank you to your husband.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, this is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. We're hanging out. We got AJ with Hippie Fertilizer here in studio, and we're going to be having some fun. So if you're watching on Facebook, thank you for taking the time. If you're listening on 99.5 FM, good morning to you. If you're going back and listening to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcast, thank you. Maybe call a friend, text a friend, tell them to check this out. We're going to be learning about everything Hippie Fertilizing has going on. So if you want to check out the website, it is hippiefertilizing.com.
Yes.
We got my man AJ, and you've been in, several times before, and we always have a lot of fun, I feel.
Yes, and I always appreciate it. It's always a great start to the day.
Yeah. You're very passionate about what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Is that's safe to say?
That's absolutely correct.
Yes. So let's get some background. I know we touched on this before, but if people are tuning in for the first time, let them know what it is that you do and how you kind of got started on this path.
So I own Hippie Fertilizing. Yes, we fertilize lawns. We do lawn top dressing, but really I look at it as like soil regeneration, right? Or micro ecosystem regeneration. 'Cause each of our lawns is its own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
And we try to make an impact on each and every home, or with customers, followers. We want to educate and build awareness as much as we can on how to improve the health of our own backyard, whether that backyard be literally our backyard or our parks, our creeks, our waterways. Lots of our neighborhoods have those beautiful ponds or lakes in them, right? Mm-hmm. And whether we realize it or not, we contribute a lot to what's called non-source point pollution by what we put on our own lawns.
Really?
And, yeah.
Yeah. There's some interesting statistics that you had kind of roughly put out last year, with the work that y'all did. Can you share what you told me earlier?
So just by a rough estimate, and honestly, I think I'm lowballing it, by the amount of customers we served, just based on a quarterly usage of chemical fertilizer, of the regular stuff, we prevented over 50,000 pounds of chemical fertilizers being put down.
Yeah.
That's not even to take into account herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the ones when you say like the normal stuff without trying to say anybody else's name, like in brand, that's the stuff if you go to, your local grocery store or your local department.
Your big box hardware store. Y'all already know what we're talking about. You've seen the commercials, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and the commercials make it look so good. It looks easy, it looks fun. I'm like, I want to go buy one of those bags and sprinkle it on my yard, and then my grass will look like, I don't know, as green as a frog.
No, it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe it's time to change what we see as perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the way you describe it as a micro ecosystem. Is that what you said it was?
That's right. It is.
So whenever, I guess you have to change your thinking and your thought process and see it as it's bigger than just your yard. It's a part of the earth, and it's an ecosystem because there's other stuff that's there. It's not just, I'm not the only one living there. There's actually stuff in the soil, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like every single foot step that you take in your lawn, you are stepping on like whole tiny civilizations of microbes that are so dense. Each little thing is like 10 times bigger than Houston.
Wow.
And on a, microscopic scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But sometimes there's the bugs, and I'm not really down with like the ants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they live there. They were probably there first.
So check this out. They actually have a purpose too.
What is it?
Ants, even though we don't like them, aerate the soil. You ever notice in an ant pile the grass is all greener and grows better around that ant pile?
Uh-huh.
Because it's aerated the soil, so oxygen and water flow much deeper in that little area. Sometimes with my hippie juice, I'll literally just spray down in an ant pile.
Yeah.
And that spot rocks.
Yeah. Okay, so two things. We're going to have to definitely let everybody know what in the world is hippie juice, because there's probably people wondering, hippie juice? Yeah, that sounds
Not
delicious.
what you think.
Sounds delicious. And the other thing, can you tell me what is aerate? Because I hear you mentioned air and getting into that soil right there. So is it extra air getting in, or aerate? What is that?
So it is. A common term that most people know is core aeration. That's a mechanical device, or sometimes you can buy a manual device that you press in the ground, and it pulls out plugs. And the theory behind that is you pull out these plugs, creating gaps in your soil or in your dirt, as most people might say.
Okay.
So that oxygen and water flow deeper. All of our microbes that we really want on the top layer to thrive are aerobic, meaning they need oxygen.
Okay.
Right.
Is that why people have those things on their shoes? I've seen them like with spikes and just other stuff, kind of poke holes and I guess ants, obviously they do that because they dig all these tunnels.
Right. They do it for you naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also they're kind of helping with create soil aggregates.
Okay.
Which with what we do in our hippie juice and our organic fertilizers and all that, we support a process. It's a natural process called soil flocculation. That means soil particles are grouping together. So look at it like this. When you put down regular fertilizer, you just have a nasty, hard clay soil. It's like a shower curtain, right? Nothing's going to go through that shower curtain. And even if you poke a whole bunch of holes in the shower curtain, not as much is going to go through it versus if you just take the shower curtain away.
Yeah.
Now let's imagine a cylinder of marbles, right? You poured water into a cylinder of marbles. It's going to flow through way better than it is going to flow through a shower curtain, right? Mm-hmm. So soil flocculation creates what I like to coin as a micro aeration, but it does it naturally.
Wow.
Because oxygen and water, the deeper the penetration you get, the better off you're doing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I've been guilty of this as well. Whenever I go out into my yard, I go outside of KHEA radio's doors, I look at the grass, I only see and think of what's on the top.
Right.
I'm looking at the grass. Is the grass green? Is there grass there? Is there a patch? And I guess I'm trying to change my way of thinking that what is underneath matters. But we're very visual people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are.
How do we change people's thought process? Is it an educational thing?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
And then also, like the old adage, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
When I go and do what I do, many, many customers have said, wow, we've tried to fix this for years. We did this, we did that, we followed this schedule. And I said, has anything you ever done supported soil biology?
Mm-hmm.
Are you down with SSB?
Yes, you know me. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so we were talking about hippie juice earlier. What is hippie juice?
So hippie juice is a soil stimulant mixture that was actually just a very simple formula given to me by a master certified arborist a few years ago. And it's humic acid, molasses. Sometimes I throw seaweed in there. We put different biological inoculants in there sometimes. There's different things that I'll put in my hippie juice that, you're not going to find at any regular store. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed, hands down.
Yeah. So hippie juice,
Sorry about that.
I've seen you actually do some really cool videos with Hippie Juice, and it seems like it's pretty safe. Like, what kind of stuff can you do? Yeah, you've drank it before.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
Tastes fine.
I wonder if is it actually good for you? Like, if you think about it, if it's good for the earth, it's probably good for you.
Absolutely.
It could be. Yeah.
It has minerals,
Mm-hmm.
right? Vitamins. It's going to have the humic acid. Now, I don't recommend this because I get agricultural grade, but you can get human grade humic acid. And what it does is helps chelate nutrients so you have better absorption, and also it helps take out toxins in your body.
Yeah.
Big time. I've even sprayed it in my face, in my eyes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt like my eyes felt better.
Really?
And refreshed.
Yeah.
Not kidding.
You mentioned you got that mixture from, another gentleman. What was his name?
His name is Eric Putnam. He used to be the owner of Arbor Tech Consulting out of Bay Cliff, and he's been a master certified arborist for many years. I know he's been an arborist for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And now Arbor True took over that business, but that's also still owned by a team of arborists, one of them being another master certified arborist.
Mm-hmm.
And
why do you think he was so open to sharing that mixture and that recipe? It seems like in any business, it's like, hey, if I have an edge and you don't know about it, that benefits me.
Well, I met him back when I had a tree business. Some of y'all may have heard of AJ's Tree Care.
Mm-hmm.
That was also bought out by Arbor True, so it's run by a great business. But when I had that business is when I met him. And I asked him some questions. It's like, hey, this is what I'm learning about organics, and I'll use MicroLife. He's like, hey, AJ, that's great. He kind of brushed me off the first time.
Yeah.
I kept bugging him, though. Like, hey, I think you're real smart. I have questions. I need answers. And finally, he said, all right, you seem like you're pretty serious about what you're doing. I'll give you some answers. And it's like, quit using MicroLife, AJ. Not that it's bad. It's a great product. He's like,
you still use it, right?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the difference is, though, his main focus was trees. Mine is lawns. So our goals were very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's expected for a tree to take much longer to bounce back from something than a lawn.
Okay.
We want results quick with our lawn. With the tree, we kind of understand, oh, it's a big tree. It's a slower process. When really, sometimes it's not. It actually can happen pretty fast as well.
Cool.
But yeah, he's like, AJ, look, man, I like what you're doing. I like what you're all about. Let me help you out. Try these things. And he don't even use seaweed or anything else like I use. Because, again, I'm doing it for grass. I tweak it to where I'm not trying to have the grass mix down.
Yeah.
And he said, go use humic acid molasses. First few times I did it, I was like, Eric, dude, you're lying.
Does this make sense? Yeah.
No, like I wasn't using enough because I didn't buy it in the way I buy it now. I was buying it in gallons in liquid form, which was really expensive.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, no, just dump it all in there and try it.
So if you're not buying it in gallons, how are you buying it?
In powder.
Oh, okay.
So I can mix up stuff like 10 times stronger than what you're going to get in that gallon.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, people. The gallons are great, okay? And for what, say a homeowner is doing, your 1 gallon that you're going to use on your lawn is fantastic. But for what I'm doing, I need to be able to make a Hulk mixture.
Yes. And okay, the other thing that I notice is you straight up tell every ingredient that you put in your Hippie Juice. Why are you so open to share that? Because you could keep it, hey, it's a top secret. Call me. I got the magic, right here. We can make it happen.
Juice.
It's right here, the Hippie Juice.
Yeah. Because, to be honest, the first part is almost no one believes it. Like, I've been talking about this for the last few years. Oh, I spray molasses on grass. They're like, really? Molasses? Really? And I even have a YouTube video with one of my customers. She's like, I did what AJ said, sprayed molasses on my lawn once a week. My backyard is amazing.
Yes, that's awesome. Hey, here's a question. This is from Iron Mike. Good morning, Iron Mike. Thanks for asking. He said, hey, I'm a huge yard guy. My grass and landscaping are my escape. With spring coming, when is the best time to have you come out, and how often? Do you have any result photos as well?
Oh, we got tons of result photos. You can look on our website. You can scroll through our Facebook page. If you look up Hippie Fertilizing, because we focus on feeding the soil first, you can always feed the soil in this part of Texas. Our soil doesn't go dormant like the grass does.
Yeah, the grass definitely does. I feel like it's a little dormant right now, but it may be changing soon. I don't know.
Oh, it's going to be changing soon.
So in other places, the soil actually goes dormant as well as the grass?
Wherever it snows and you have a snow for a period of time, the top layer of your soil is going to go much more dormant. The tundra definitely has a dormancy, or they just have different microbes. Like, as far as I understand, for every 5 degrees change, different microbes kind of wake up and go to sleep.
Okay.
And so, here, we get a couple 30-degree days. It's not enough for your soil to really.
Yeah. So even like now, what you were saying is with our soil is different here due to the weather, that you could even come, if the grass is dormant, you can still come out and treat the biology of the soil.
We feed it.
You feed it.
Yes.
Okay, and then, so how often? Like, what do you, even like as soon as possible?
So, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's something you haven't done, jump on it. Whether you choose our services or you just go to the grocery store. The Wholesome brand organic molasses. That's what I recommend. Or you can go look it up on Amazon and get the Plant and Soil Energy, which is Microlife's version of my Hippie Juice.
Really?
Yeah, you can even look up videos with me and a gentleman named Greg from Microlife. They made Plant and Soil Energy because I was like, look, bottle this stuff.
Really?
Put it in a bottle. And they did. I can't do it because you have to have, I guess, stabilizers with the molasses and humic acid. If you were to just put that together in a jar, it'll like ferment and blow up. So you have a hot mess.
Yeah. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, what, you being so open to share that. But the only thing that I can figure is that you just are passionate. Hey, and if it makes the world a better place and more people are able to organically take care of their lawn, that's the final goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Like other competitive companies, you could say, I'm not happy with the way they do things at all. But I tell you, if they changed like today and started doing exactly what I'm doing, you're right, I'd be happy about it because our world would be so much healthier.
Yeah.
Literally healthier, because just like I've said before, you can take the guy who's like ripped, right? Looking bulk and like, so you may think, man, he's healthy. You don't know. Maybe he's doing stuff to look that way. He could have heart problems. Like, looks on the surface are not everything. You can have a lawn that doesn't look perfect, but it could be perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Will it eventually catch up?
Well, so that depends on what you mean.
Yeah.
Like my version of perfectly healthy includes things that are unpopular, like dandelion, clover, because clover adds nitrogen to the soil. It's a legume. It fixes atmospheric nitrogen. It feeds your soil. It's free fertilizer. Dandelions are like free mineralizers. They mine up soils or minerals out of the soil. They're like little tiny oil rigs.
Mm-hmm.
And all those root systems naturally also help aerate your soil because they're forcing it to separate, and they're feeding these microbes and helping with these soil glues like glomalins and auxins and gibberellins and all these cool words that are kind of hard to say sometimes.
Yeah. I know one thing you've said in the past is, and if it does bug you, then just cut it. You keep your grass, maintained. If you have a good, healthy, thick grass and you cut it, hey, that clover, it's literally gone. Or you could just straight up pull it out.
Well, and some of the things that thrive in the winter like they are now, they ain't going to be able to handle the heat.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to die off when it gets hotter. Grow your grass at 4 inches. Or if you're using a home mower and you're doing it yourself, safest bet is highest setting. Right? And you'd be amazed with how much your grass thickens up, looks beautiful, it's softer.
Yeah.
And you don't have to irrigate as much. Most of my customers say they turn off the irrigation completely.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just from keeping the higher setting and letting your grass actually grow, giving it a chance?
The higher setting, letting it grow, and supporting soil biology.
Okay, so there was a question that I thought of earlier. Whenever you were talking about the hippie juice and, with it being for trees originally, whenever you apply it to a tree, is that something you spray it, like you just hit the whole tree and the soil around it? I mean,
everything.
Those roots go
everything
crazy, yeah.
Yeah, spray the whole tree because on the whole tree, the bark, everything, is bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
And the more good bacteria we have all over everything, just like our own bodies, the better it can protect itself.
Yeah.
And the better you have what's called non-symbiotic nitrogen-fixing bacteria. And this is like very new information in the I guess agricultural world.
Mm-hmm.
That throughout the whole plant, these bacteria can help supply nitrogen. Not to the level that it does in the soil, but it does all over the plant. And
Wow.
there's a lady that I like to watch on YouTube named Dr. Elaine Ingham. She's kind of considered like the mother of soil science in the United States.
Cool.
And that's something she said. She's like, you want every little square centimeter covered with good biology, because where it's not covered with good biology, it's susceptible to like the bad kind of fungus or bacteria or scale or what have you.
Yeah.
And so don't freak out when you hear those words, though, okay? Like bacteria and fungus, there's actually 10 times more good stuff than there is bad stuff.
Yeah.
So there's fungus everywhere. And when you put fungus, like a fungicide down, you're killing all of it.
Yeah.
Don't kill all of it.
Uh-huh. So
feed the good stuff.
back in like high school, or, even junior high, did you want to like be a biochemist, like study biology? Did you ever, realize, hey, I'm going to pretty much say words that Gardy will never understand, on the air, and I'll be like writing down, taking notes, have to go back and do some research?
No.
Yeah.
Not in that aspect, but what I did want to do was become like an environmental engineer. I've always had this big vision of somehow like using natural features to clean up water and literally make Clear Creek clear. I know y'all think I'm crazy. That's okay. I'm going to still move forward with my mission.
Yeah. I mean, what you're doing now is moving towards that, and you do other stuff, and we're going to touch on that later, to reach that goal right now, even still.
Absolutely.
So, hey, we're going to take a quick break on the FM because we had a question, and it's something that we can talk about on Facebook, and you can listen to on the podcast and everything else. But let me see. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, Facebook. Hey, so we had a question about cost, and we're not really allowed to talk about that on the FM side. So is there like an average cost? Is it like a plan that you can get or get on a schedule? How does that usually work?
So there are some basic costs, like a single hippie juice application, $99. We have our lawn restoration packages. 1 cubic yard is $289. 2 cubic yards is $449.
Is that like if you have a bad spot, like it's...
It more has to do with
the size of your
square
yard?
footage.
Okay.
Right. Like the 1 cubic yard will generally take care of anything from 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. The 2 cubic yards will take care of like 3,000 to 6,000 square feet. Also, it does depend on how bad it is, because if it's like super bad or you super all over the place and bumpiness in your lawn, it'll take up more soil.
Okay.
Right. So like depth of how much we put it down varies tremendously. If you have a big giant yard and you just want the very lightest top dressing, a little bit will go a long way. You could have a really small yard but need it to be put on really thick, so those will kind of work out the same depending on the situation.
Yeah. On your website, is all that stuff kind of listed on there, or do they need to give you a call? Or can they do that?
And a lot of times, calls are great, but we do have a page called Services on Demand that you can just go and order our services, and we typically, weather pending, rain really does slow us down because we ain't spreading mud.
Yeah.
Typically get it done within 5 to 7 business days.
Okay.
So a lot of those prices are on there. We also have monthly fertilizing that starts out as a base price at $39 a month.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, $39 a month.
And here's the kicker, okay? At least how I like to compare myself to my competition is you will never hear us say that you need a shrub and tree treatment because we feed the soil.
Yeah.
Soil feeds everything.
Yeah.
Bottom line. The only thing is if you have small trees or something in newer neighborhoods, we do offer a service where we take away all the old mulch and stuff and compost it and really drench it down.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, well, that $39 a month, that's like competitive and beating the price quotes that I've gotten in the past from places like, hey, can you come out and treat it? And they want you to sign, like.
And we don't do contracts either.
Yeah.
Like unless you purchase our year service, which we have limited slots available for that. For our monthly stuff, we don't do contracts because my goal is that you really, enjoy our service and what it does for your lawn and for your home so much that, we don't need to lock you in.
Yeah.
We don't want to. We just want you to appreciate what we do, and if we're not doing good enough, we definitely want to do better. But we're never going to promote weed killing, okay?
Yeah.
I don't put down herbicides, pre-emergence, none of that. Yes, our goal, like you mentioned earlier, we want the lawn strong enough to choke out the other weeds.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, if you have some clover and dandelion and you're cool with that, I'm definitely cool with that.
All right. Hey, so right now it's 9:27. I think we're going to kick it back on the FM. We got about 30 seconds. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you're watching on social media, share this out. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you. Send me a text, 346-704-1806. Even if you're listening to this later, let me know where you're watching from. What do you put on your yard? Do you have a yard? Maybe you live somewhere where they maintain it.
We even have a whole video on YouTube of that's like a whole breakdown of our lawn restoration package, and I'll take you through all the parts. So,
what's your YouTube channel?
Hippie Fertilizing.
Just search Hippie Fertilizing, it comes up.
Yep.
Sometimes I want to talk whenever I'm introducing you, I want to say Hippie Fertilizer, and I know I've said that before. I'm just like, Hippie Fertilizing. I wrote it down, so I keep on clicking.
Everybody does, dude.
Yeah.
I got over it. It's cool.
It's all good, huh?
It is.
Hey, you still do some tree trimming and tree care?
Not much.
Not as much?
No.
Yeah.
I try and stay away from that these days.
I got you. All right, here we go. Back on the FM. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's 9:28 on a Friday. We got AJ with Hippie Fertilizing here in studio. And we were just talking, right before we came back on about some of the pricing and some other stuff. How can somebody find out that information? Where would they go on the internet?
Go to hippiefertilizing.com and check out our services on demand.
All right.
Page.
So it's easy. hippiefertilizing.com. You can learn all that information. There's some contact, and I'm sure you can message. And also, you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
What's
absolutely.
on? What kind of content's on there, and how would they find that?
We have different information about lawn care, a little bit about tree care. I posted a speech that I gave on environmental degradation the other day.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you're a part of the Clear Creek Environmental Foundation, and we chatted about this off air, a couple months ago.
Yes.
And you were, you're very passionate. You mentioned about being in high school, and you wanted to be, did you say an environmental scientist or
engineer?
Environmental engineer.
Yes.
And what was the goal?
So part of my big dream and vision that I've always had since a younger teenager was a clear creek.
Yeah.
I know.
It's
it
in
sounds
the name.
crazy, guys.
It's in the name.
Sounds crazy. Y'all say I'm nuts. I'm just nuts enough to think it's possible.
Yeah. So it can happen. I mean, how do you make that happen? What's the goal? I know that's like the big question, but is it possible?
I really believe it is, but there's a lot of factors that are involved. Like, we would have to find ways to really clean up the channel that goes out into KHEA and Clear Lake and into the bay, because a lot of that water comes back in. And yes, we do have a muddy bottom on Clear Creek. So in essence, you could argue that it's never going to be perfectly clear, but it doesn't necessarily have to be nearly as green as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there's tons of algae, and there's even signs posted around Clear Creek saying, "Don't eat the fish." Right?
It's not a good sign that you went up there. I want to eat the fish.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can clean that up. It's a lot of people will say, well, it's because of the water treatment plants. Okay, some of that's true. Right. That we need to find a way to better mitigate that. But also, we as homeowners attribute to that way more than we realize. How many parts per million does it take to contaminate water? One part per million.
Wow.
And so think about, and what I hear in my business, well, I just wanted to fertilize right before it rained. No,
Yeah.
I have to say, even on the packages of that stuff that I don't like, it says do not do that.
Because the runoff?
Right.
And it just goes into our drainage system. If you live in a neighborhood, they got a
Yeah.
a retention pond, and it flows and goes in there.
Right. And it attributes to one of these big fancy words, eutrophication. Some of you people who like fishing and stuff, a lot of people have heard of algae blooms. So it attributes to that. Some may have heard of red tide. Some of these things can occur naturally, but mostly we're rapidly speeding up the process of eutrophication. And I've looked up some statistics in other areas, and some of it's based on lakes and some of it's coastal stuff, but it costs millions and millions in water treatment, and it costs billions economically because of how it affects fishing or recreational activities, tourism. There's so many ways that eutrophication impacts us.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned on your YouTube channel that there is a video of you giving a speech, and I'm trying to remember. You said it was on
environmental degradation.
Degradation. I was like, aggradation, degradation, aggradation. What is that?
No, environmental degradation.
Degradation. Yeah.
Degradation.
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 Yeah.
What is that?
So it's essentially just stripping the environment of resources or depleting them. Kind of one little tiny minute form of, you could say, environmental degradation is taking down a tree. It provides shade. It provides microbes to the biology under it via exudates. It provides homes for a bunch of little critters of many, many, many kinds, whether it be birds, bugs, all sorts of stuff. So when you rip that little tree out of a given area, you degraded that part of the environment. Now I know some of y'all could argue, hey, what about these invasive species? Sure, we need to get rid of that stuff, like tallowood trees and stuff. They kind of cause their own form of environmental degradation. But it can be even, forms of agriculture degrade the environment because they're constantly plowing the soil and putting chemicals back on it and ruining that soil, and then that sedimentation goes off when it rains real hard, creating non-point source solution or pollution to other places. It can be slash and burn of rainforests. There's quite a few forms of environmental degradation. And funny enough, if you Google that, one of the ones that pops up is using chemical fertilizers.
Yeah. So I think that people look at that or hear that and they say, well, I'm not burning, the rainforest. I'm not pulling out and clearing acres of land. I'm going to the big box store and I'm buying fertilizer. It's okay. It's okay. But there's millions
right.
of people doing that, which I don't know, but it seems like it kind of makes it, the more people that do that, it makes it a little bit worse instead of just me, one person.
So something, I say sometimes on my own page or out and about, like, how many people does it take to make a difference? One, right? And what's the easiest, fastest way to make the biggest change is a bunch of people taking a little step.
Yeah.
A little step. We're not all having to go over to another country and restore the forest, okay? You don't have to go to other places. You can simply just change what you do at home to be making a difference and an impact on the greater whole.
Yeah. Whenever it comes to like organic and, not with pesticides, are you that way with like other things in life as far as like maybe like food that you eat or, when it comes to like medication, or is it just mainly like with the lawn care stuff, or is it a mixture?
I don't take medication. I would definitely say I want to calm down and go to sleep. There's stuff that's like calcium and magnesium. It helps with your nerves. So yes, I would definitely try stuff like that before like typical over-the-counter, any kind of medication.
So you try and go the organic route with that?
Right. Now, my diet is not, great by any means.
Better, right?
Absolutely. Come on, talk of taco. I should be on there more often 'cause I love taco trucks. But I do like to go to like natural living. Yeah. I know you were talking to Lisa the other day. And I love chatting up with her. I love going there because they provide a really good option versus just about everything else in town.
The other thing that they do are cooking classes, which I know, like cooking, it's hard sometimes to find time, and that's one thing she shared. Like, hey, we live in a fast society, so like fast food makes it easy, and but they do like organic, vegan, cooking classes, and they offer like all kinds of products in there, and it's all delicious.
Right.
It's different.
Oh, I had their greens and beans just 2 days ago, and it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all ever are curious about that place, go get the avocado BLT. The bacon part's made with eggplant.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that I ever tried there, and it blew my mind.
Yeah, and she said, I haven't had that one yet, but she said they had, some gluten-free bread, and they toast it, and the reason they toast it is it helps the reason they add gluten, she said, to bread is it helps it as a binder. So like, pizza dough, it's like really doughy and all this stuff. So when you remove it, it becomes harder to stay together. But, little tricks like that you can learn. You toast the gluten-free bread and it stays together, more likely, which is really cool. Kind of blew my mind. I was like, I didn't even have to go to the cooking class. I already learned something right now.
Right?
I like toasted bread.
Me too.
Yeah, I go to Subway and I'm getting it toasted.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Have you met Dr. Chapa yet?
I haven't.
We got to get you guys together.
Really, because it's been more than once that other people have even said, hey,
Yes.
you need to talk to him.
Yeah, because I feel like y'all could work together. So like you were mentioning, the magnesium and calcium. Like right now I'm doing a detox and a cleanse with Dr. Chapa. It's 21 days. I think I'm done on Sunday, which is really cool. But it's gone by really quick. This is my third one. So I'm taking like magnesium lactate. I'm taking, and it looks like so much. But the thing is, it's food. It's all food. The pills, it's not something that they make in a lab. It is crops that they grow. You can look at the back and read every single one of these like herbs and vegetables that they grind up, all pesticide and, chemical free, and they're all like verified, and they have to be, how it is. It's hard to get.
Oh yeah, that stuff is very scrutinized,
Yeah.
as it should be. And yeah, when you're getting products like that, you really are getting some high density fuel for the body.
So that's some good soil.
It's grown in good soil. Absolutely. Yes.
It has to be, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Right now it's 9:39. This is KHEAradio.com, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. I'm Gardy, hanging out with AJ with Hippie Fertilizing. You can check out the website, hippiefertilizing.com. So the Clear Creek Environmental Foundation, what is that? How long has it been going on? Is there any cool events coming up?
There's a great event that's been going on for 3 weekends now. We have 2 weekends left, tomorrow, Sunday, and then February the 8th is going to be our final cleanup day. We meet at the boat ramp at Egret Bay, otherwise known as El Camino or 290. I know it gets confusing. I'm sorry, y'all. But the Egret Bay boat ramp in Leak City is where we're at. It's where we meet. The foundation has its own boats, so we take people out on boats and go clean up all up and down the creek. So far, we've picked up over 20 tires this year.
Wow.
We picked out a full picnic
This year?
table. Yeah, this year. We picked out a full picnic table.
How does that stuff end up in there? People dump it?
Man, it's hard to say. Like 2 of the tires we got were like Nitto grapplers, 20-inch wheels with the wheels on them.
Like, these are kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I was like, man, if I had a matching set, I'd totally just keep this in my garage because it was in good shape.
Yeah.
Last year, we picked up a giant tractor tire. So I really can't say where this stuff comes from.
Yeah.
My guess is that if you take a look around Clear Creek, it's a huge population around us. Very huge. I mean, Leak City alone is like almost 110,000 people.
Doing a new census this year. It'll be exciting to see.
Yeah. Ooh. And so you think about how many people like have to get off on the road and change a tire. And sometimes, whether they discard it purposefully or you're in the rain, you forget it, who knows?
Don't fit in the car or something. I don't know.
Right. You're having a hard time putting it back and you get frustrated like, oh, I can't deal with this. I got to go.
Yeah. Also, sometimes I've seen stuff fly out of the back of people's vehicles, or it's all like strapped down, or you're hauling stuff and it's just like, okay, there's furniture on the side of the road. I got to swerve, like random stuff just happens. It was an accident.
You know what we find a lot of too? Is wood.
A lot of wood?
Lots
like
of
plywood
wood.
And stuff?
2x4s, 4x6s, and I'm talking sometimes this stuff is brand new with tags on it.
And that must be what happened there, like an accident.
Or no, I think it happened from this stuff was placed close to the water during a flood event.
Ah, okay.
And so, it's wood. It's going to float after enough water. Boom, it gets swept away.
Yeah. So y'all go out there, and y'all been doing that, and y'all are literally picking up all kinds of random stuff out of the
All
out of the
kinds
creek.
of trash. Little styrofoam cups, millions. Beer cans, most popular is Bud Light.
It's all out there.
Like, you never find craft beer cans out there. At least it's rare.
It's interesting.
And yeah, tons of styrofoam, tons of beer cans. Skull. Funny is I don't see tons of people dip, but you see tons of skull cans out there.
Well, that must be people. I mean, that you can make up scenarios and stories, but people just like hanging out. Which, I mean, they should be able to hang out, but not throw your trash or let it get it close to the water.
Right, and also this year we got 3 catfish that were hanging on lines that were left in the water, like kind of wrapped up with those pool noodle things.
Mm-hmm.
So they could sit on top of the water. One was like 25 pounds. Hugest catfish I've seen in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What does that stuff do to the creek and all that stuff? Well, like the tires and the trash and even like stuff that really isn't trash but ended up there. What does that do?
So, for one, it really disturbs the homes of the animals that live out there. Like, let me go take some of this stuff and just dump it in your living room and tell me how you feel about it. You're going to be like, dude, I hate you. This is not cool.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't want our wildlife having an ugly living room because of our debris. Also, it creates snag. Something that people don't really ever consider is that it contributes to even worse flooding problems because it blocks the flow. And then the other thing that happens is we're picking out plastic bags and all these kinds of things that cover the soil. So it may not look like a whole lot because it's spread out, but if you were to combine it all together, you would have like a couple thousand square feet covered in plastic. So that also means you're not absorbing more water when it rains, also contributing to flooding.
Mm-hmm.
And microplastics, come on. We've heard a lot about animals eating plastic stuff and dying because of the plastic in their stomach. That's contributing to that problem. And it's really gross. And it's preventable. And then the newest trend out there is Juuls, right?
Oh, yeah.
Little smoking things.
Mm-hmm.
They're the cigarette butt of the future.
Yeah.
There's tons of cigarette butts, and now they're becoming lots of little Juul cartridges.
Yeah.
Or whatever brand you use,
Yeah, the e-cigs, which
Exactly.
Yeah, they're finding out it's like, hey, it's not really good when you breathe in chemicals.
Right.
Apparently, I guess we knew that with cigarettes, but it kind of snuck in like before we really knew, and then it was like legal, and everybody's like, nah, you can't take that away. But it's interesting to see how they are changing the laws now, in certain places and raising ages and all this stuff. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Say we should just go back to showing the pictures of lungs.
That kind of does the trick, yeah. And if it doesn't, it's like,
that's
right.
disgusting. OCPD isn't cool. Emphysema get you down.
Yeah. So when y'all pull that stuff out of Clear Creek, where does it go?
So right now, while we do our first weekends, it all gets collected on barges that we have out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the final weekend, we bring those barges in. They bring out big roll-off dumpsters, and a big, large group of us take all that from the barge and put it in the dumpsters, and it gets hauled to a landfill.
Okay.
So, yes, I understand, because it's something I heard before. Well, why doesn't it get recycled and all these other things? Like, that process would be much more extensive and a lot more expensive. Yes, it would be something that would be amazing if we could take everything and recycle it, but that's just, honestly, it's not that feasible.
Yeah.
Right now.
Recycling sometimes is tricky anyways, because some things can be recycled. A lot of things can't.
A lot of things can't.
And even something that you think that can't. It can't.
Right.
There's little numbers on stuff. I mean, it's all kinds of interesting things. And I was like, this is kind of confusing. And I think it's not like it's somebody's fault, but it's a matter of education, like on just, I guess, me trying to learn, like more really.
What I'm excited about is the fact that hemp is now legal in the United States. So what I see happening in the future is more biodegradable products. Because let's face it, for one, yes, stuff flies out of people's trucks. There's a lot of stuff that happens and it's not intentional, right? But then people are going to be kind of dirty, and some of it is going to be intentional.
Yeah.
And no matter what, we need to work towards things that can break down in like 90 days. Because who wants to drink a bottle of water that's been kept for 6 months? Most of the time I ask this question, people tell me, not me. That'd be gross. And they even tell you not to if it's been left out in the sun.
Yeah, they'll have expiration dates on it. It's like, this water was, from the Ozarks for millions of years, but it expires in 6 months. So,
Right.
Yeah, you better drink it real quick or throw it away.
Or packaging, tons of packaging from whether it's fast food or even the stuff we buy at home.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, things like I think KHEA is moving to like compostable stuff. Igloo is definitely made
coolers?
made a
Mhm.
big step on using compostable coolers.
Yeah.
So it's moving in that direction. Because to say we're gonna all quit littering is, I think, it's a really awesome fantasy, but it ain't ever gonna happen.
Yeah. But maybe even like helping people be accountable, like with your kids. Like I've seen my son, like I was like, what are you doing? I remember my parents would like yank the slack out of me to throw something on the floor. I was like, put it in your pocket, give it to me. There's a trash can. Like I can see one. Here's the
Right.
other thing that I try and do. Like if I'm at the gas station and there's like just trash on the floor, it takes nothing. Like there's a bottle. And in my head, I'm like, who did this? Who's just like couldn't wait, chugged this and dropped this? Like just pick it up, just drop it in. Don't expect nothing. It's just like
Or in
being
some
a good
cases,
person.
I'm thinking like, I know I've done that on accident at places. So I'd hope someone would just take care of it, and I'm going to take care of the next guy. It's kind of like paying it forward.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We're talking to AJ with Hippie Fertilizing. You can check out the website, hippiefertilizing.com. Right now, we're kind of touching on the Clear Creek Environmental Foundation. So the cleanup, the cleanup's going right now.
Yes.
And this is the 22nd year that it's been taking place?
Correct.
How long have you been a part, and why did you decide to join? Did somebody recruit you, or you just felt like it was a good idea?
I wanted to walk the walk that I talk. And this is my 3rd year being a part of it. It's always a great experience. Get to meet new people, get to see old faces,
Mm-hmm.
get to see the creek in a whole different light, because I don't have a boat yet. And
But you get to ride on one.
get to ride on one.
That's nice, yeah.
And sometimes we do get that perfect weather, so to be out there in the morning while we're going to a cleanup spot is just peaceful.
That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah, I really wanted to do something that I could be a greater part of my community more than just fertilizing.
Yeah. Do y'all need and are open to more members?
Oh, absolutely.
What is
Yes.
it? What does it take to join?
Now that I do apologize, I'm the freshest blood in there.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Well,
I don't
they need more fresh blood then. For
They
sure.
do.
Yeah.
They do. And I just kind of kept pounding on the door, like, I'm here, use me, and finally he was like, all right, well, show up here at this time and we'll consider it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Arbor situation we were talking about earlier.
Uh-huh.
Give me the formula. I need the hippie juice.
Right.
Yeah. Has that been like a reoccurring theme in your life? Just where, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just kind of like, I don't know, is this guy for real? And then you kind of show that, hey, no, I am the real deal, and I am here to make a difference.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's okay, because, sometimes we talk about doors being closed and opened. Well, you know what? Sometimes you just got to pound them down.
Kick it down.
That's it.
Make it happen.
And if you ain't strong enough, do some push-ups, run some laps, and come back at it.
Yeah. I remember last time you were here, we were talking about working out. Have you still been able to work out? Because, you have a jacket on right now. I was like, dude, you're looking kind of jacked right now. What's been going on? It's like all this hippie juice that you've been like carrying around.
Dude, you realize on some days I'm moving over 20,000 pounds of soil.
Yeah.
Well, it may be one shovel load at a time, but it's a workout. Or carrying bags of fertilizer, ripping out tires out of the creek is a workout.
Yeah.
Especially when they're nice and stuck in the mud.
Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've definitely been staying busy. And do you have any idea, like an estimate, how much? Because you said I think y'all saved was it 50,000 pounds of like pesticides and all that stuff not being
Chemical
spread?
fertilizers.
Chemical fertilizer.
That's what I said. Yeah, approximately we prevented 50,000 pounds of chemical fertilizers being used last year. So we tried to help, take away from that eutrophication issue.
Yes.
Definitely.
What do you have any goals for this year? Like, what's your plan? Even to move into like a new aspect of lawn care, or?
Oh, I'm not moving into a new aspect. Actually, part of my goals this year is I've picked like 5 to thrive. I don't want to be good at everything. I want to be good at making your lawn awesome organically, and that's it.
That's it.
That's why I'm not messing with trees, not trying to mow grass. We want to have the perfect hippie juice, and we want to have the perfect application so that you can get away from chemicals and actually spend less and get more results organically.
Organically.
Yes.
That's the goal.
That's my goal.
That's awesome. And what are the areas? Because I remember you talking about like the areas that you service. I mean, are you still kind of hyper-focused there, or is there any plan to like, hey, I'm going to spread out?
So we're definitely spreading out from League City all the way to the other side of Pearland. I do work. In fact, after I leave here, I'm going to Angleton to spray a lawn. I was out in a section called Summerwood a couple weeks ago doing a lawn top dressing. So, of course, the further out, the more I got to charge. But no, if you're willing to agree to pay for the service and for the extra trip fee, we will go there.
Okay, I'm going to have to put you on something real quick. So when I grew up in Angleton, until I was about 10 years old, and then when I was 10 years old, I moved to Lamarck, and my parents still live in Lamarck. But there is a family friend, they just opened a taco place, and we were talking about, taco just for a second earlier.
Uh-huh.
It's called Lunacy Taco Shack. And they got these Bria tacos. And I don't know if you've seen any of the videos of those that are going around. You probably have. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But what they do is they take this meat and they cook it in a certain way, and then they take the juice. But they take these tacos, and it has like this cheese and other stuff, and you dip it in the meat, and it comes out, and it's like legit. So I'm gonna have to write it down, maybe even text you like the link. But they're in Angleton.
Me.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. So
I'll definitely check that out on my way home.
Yeah, and then make sure you post a picture in Talk of Taco.
Okay.
If you're able to stop by and get that.
Will do, for sure.
All right. Hey, so we got like a couple minutes left. Is there anything else you would like to share? Remind people, what you do, what you offer, and how to get a hold of you.
So, number one, you should know, nobody knows grass like a hippie. Okay?
It's a fact.
And always ask yourself, like, is this supporting soil biology? What does that mean? Is it a food? Can you read what it is? Because a lot of times that will be a big sign, just like on, our food that we feed ourselves. If you can't really read it and understand what it is, you might want to be careful. And read the caution label, too. If it has a serious caution label, that's a big red flag, right? So always support soil biology. And to find out a little bit more about what that means, you could look up my YouTube channel. If you look up Hippie Fertilizing, of course, you could follow me on Facebook. Look up Hippie Fertilizing there. Or some great books to read is Teaming with Microbes. Teaming with Microbes will lay it all down, and it's fairly understandable. It's not nearly in depth as other soil books that I've gotten tired of in 5 seconds.
Yeah. I was going to ask that. I was like, man, is it hard to pay attention? You have to be really passionate. I feel like to be like, I'm reading this soil book, and it is awesome, right?
Some of it is really awesome, but then some things are like, oh my God, nails on the chalkboard.
Okay, whenever you first started learning about soil biology, like, did you, I assume you have to take a lot of notes, and then, like, I'd be using Google as my best friend and be like, what does that word mean? Like, me asking you questions, what is degradation? Like, what does that mean? Or, like, all the other, like, a microbe, what is that?
Right.
Yeah.
A
lot of research.
Oh, absolutely. To understand, like, exudates. To me, it's a common thing, but I ask other people, hey, you know what exudates are? And they're like, what? And I'm like, not the exudate.
I was going to say, is that whenever, like, you're on a date and you have to leave early, it's like, I'm going to exudate. Like, exudate, I got to get out of here. Yeah.
That's funny. No, it's technically, I like to coin it or say it's like the little food packets that plants give down to the microbes.
Okay.
So in photosynthesis, actually 70% or more of the food made by the plant is given to the microbes in a trade-off so that the microbes give other minerals and nutrients back to the plant.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like I'm going to be a biologist in no time. But if we keep coming back, we can keep chatting, and I'm going to be a randomly really smart whenever it comes to soil biology.
So another place I've got to learn a lot of great information is through another organization in Houston called OBA, Organic Horticultural Benefits Alliance, OHBA, and it's put together by like the owner of Microlife, the owner of Nature's Way Resource, the owner of Arbitrue is a part of it, a couple doctors in the field of soil and horticulture. Like, there's a really great team that put that thing together and have kept it going. And they bring in doctors from all over the United States with PhDs to break down this amazing stuff. They usually talk about food, but I always get little tidbits on how I can apply it to what I do. Because they talk about soil and microbes and how it interacts with our bodies and our probiotics and our gut and our enzymes and all this cool stuff.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I could break it down.
Did Microlife start in Houston? Is that a Houston-based company?
Yes.
You know, there's something really cool about supporting, first of all, like a local company, like from the area. But then I was talking to, it wasn't Dr. Chapa, it was Jennifer With You, who's at the same office as him, and she was sharing, like, whenever you are like fertilizing or you're caring for your food and other stuff, but like even like eating like honey that's local, like stuff that is local is like better for you if it's in a way, just because it's like the soil biology is like from our area. Just some interesting things I never thought of before.
So on that note though, the products that are put into Microlife don't come from this area.
Yeah, they're not all local.
No, they come from a couple different areas in the United States, but the Humates Plus was specifically designed for Houston soils.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. So if you can get Microlife from you spread Microlife, you use their products, right?
Correct. So I don't mess with the small stuff. That's kind of another thing I'm doing this year.
Yes.
Tried that last year, moving away from that so I can provide better results for our applications. So yes, we do use Microlife in all of our topsoil applications, right? But you can go to Grippon Gardens. They even have it at the feed store in League City, Friendswood Hardware. You can look up some of the bottled products on Amazon. Look up for the seller of Friendswood Mercantile. That's a gentleman who works with me to put these out there on Amazon. If you don't feel like driving, you can have that stuff delivered to you.
That's cool. I still need to make it out to Grippon Gardens. I had Justin on, and I have not had I haven't had his dad on, but I've talked to him and seen him at a bunch of events before. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the way they describe it, it's like a sanctuary of just like awesomeness.
It's a beautiful little spot.
Yes.
It really is. And the cool thing is their water, how they water everything is like off the grid because they use their own pond to water all their plants. Justin's very particular about who he sources his plants from, which I appreciate big time. And everything that they get is grown either in Texas or Louisiana already in like our temperature zones. Mm-hmm. So
I remember we talked about that, maybe not last time, but the time before, like certain things that grow really well here.
Right. And there's a whole lot, but yeah, he works hard to make sure that his plants are more true to the source.
Yeah. So shout out to Justin Grippon.
Yeah.
Go check him out. Get some Microlife, maybe some plants, take some notes.
Yeah, Grippon Gardens.
Yourself.
It is a beautiful little place. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you for hanging out today, AJ. You're awesome.
Well, Gardy, man, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. See you guys. Y'all be blessed. Have a good day.
Peace.